Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. We're back on GT Sport and we're back with a brand new season in the FIA Manufacturers Championship and a change of manufacturers. So for this season we obviously picked Honda, not particularly the greatest manufacturer within the selection of cars that are available. However, I think there's going to be some opportunities for some solid results further on during the season. This round I wasn't too sure on, for one reason. I don't think the Honda was particularly amazing at this track, and also I don't think I'm very good at this track, if I'm brutally honest. This has never really been a track that I'm very strong at, so I wasn't expecting much, but I was hoping to qualify a little bit better than what we did in this race. As you can see, going through the field, a very strong field again. I think just under 3k strength of field race, and some very fast drivers all the way through the grid. But what I was finding was we did two races and I just could not get a qualifying lap together at this combination. I think both attempts were 16.1s and 2s, and really I should have been in 15.6s, 7s. I don't think I could have gone much faster than a 15.6 if I'm brutally honest, because one, I think the car wasn't particularly great, but myself, I just can't, this track does not click for me. So we were all the way down the back of the grid. As you can see, we're still not on the screen at the moment. In P16 there, TX3 month, and we're down in P18 just after Roby 220796. We're going to show up now down in P18 in the NSX, burning fuel there. You can see I was able to burn fuel in the Honda, which some drivers were not able to do that. However, that is good for them in a way, because I think without burning fuel they were able to get to the end of the race perfectly fine by revving it max, but I ended up finishing the race even with fuel left over. And with these races, with tyre wear being so important, you want to be burning as much fuel to get rid of the weight off your car as possible. So the NSX seems to be quite good on fuel, which if there is any races where fuel becomes a factor, the NSX should be fairly good with the fuel. So that's something to maybe look for in some future races. I don't know if there will be any races in Group 3 where fuel is a factor. They seem to not bother with that, but they used to. I would prefer going back to that way over this tyre wear situation that we've got at the moment. Obviously this race starting there from P18, we're running time 17 tyre wear on medium tyre, so this is very extreme, especially at this track. Some corners at this track which really take a lot of life out of your tyres, especially the rear right hand tyre. That is the tyre to keep an eye on during this race, as we're trying to look after it. This was the aim for this race, starting from P18. My aim was just to look after the tyres and try and be quite cautious throughout the race, and hopefully we can pick up some places in this race by other cars making mistakes. In the first race we've seen quite a few cars making errors, issues in the race, penalties getting picked up. So for this one I just wanted to try and keep it clean, not get pushed into the habit of trying to follow the cars in front with an early pace, because I needed to look after my tyres. Even on the 3-lap stint with the heavy fuel, the NSX did start to get a little bit tricky towards the end of lap 3. So what I wanted to do was really look after the tyres. As you can see straight away off the start, P16 and 17 coming together, and P17 there running a little bit wide, but just managed to save it and just slotted in behind myself. But P16 also picked up a 5-second penalty during that. I think it was either a 3.5 or a 5-second penalty or something. You can check that out on the live stream. It is on the channel now. So straight away I knew I was going to be straight into P16, which is nice. Lap 1 we're going to be gaining 2 places. As you can see, he's going to pull over to the left hand side or pretty much stay in the middle of the track to take the penalty. A very awkward place to put the penalty zone there. I'm quite surprised they didn't put it on the start straight, because out of that corner your general racing line is from the right hand side that gradually go over to the left, as we see another car making a mistake there, putting me up to P15. So yeah, it's a gradual line that you take to the left hand side, so putting it right in the middle there is quite awkward, because you kind of don't know where to go if you're in the penalty zone. I think it would have been better placed on the start straight where people could have got out of the way easily without any issue, but Polifoni put it there for some reason. I'm not sure why. As we work our way through the very tricky chicane, this chicane was where I was losing a lot of time in qualifying. On my qualifying lap, we actually went through the first 3 sectors purple. Halfway through the lap we were purple, and then we get to the last sector, and where that chicane is, I just lose so much time in the NSX because of the change of rotation. It just didn't like being swung from one way to the next, and the weight transfer really did upset the balance of the NSX. So I was losing so much time. I think probably up to 4 tenths to 5 tenths on other cars, and that would have been enough of a difference to put me up about probably about 5 to 6 places up on the grid, but it wasn't to be. We didn't really hook the lap up, which is a shame, but in the race condition I was taking it very cautious through that corner. You could see the difference with the car behind, how much more pace he has. As he's going to have a little look on the left hand side, you can see in that bottom right hand corner, he's going to look on that left, but I braked really late. One thing about the NSX, it can really take late braking and swing into the corner reasonably well still. It's got quite a positive front end, which will help it out at some tracks. Fuji, which seems to be fairly competitive on from early testing. I've done a little brief session on it today, and it looks much better at that track than it is at this track. So I'm looking forward to Fuji. I do like Fuji anyway, so hopefully we can pick up a better result at that round. We will see how that goes on Saturday, but for this race you can see we're making reasonable progress already. Managed to gain a few positions. Obviously we're starting lap 2 now. We're on lap 2, looking after the tyres still, not really worrying about pushing too hard. You can see I'm defending from the car behind because I don't want to let him pass really. I could be fighting this driver all the way to the end, so I want to hold on to every position. There's another car picking up a penalty, and this is why I was going for this strategy of just looking after the tyres, because other cars are battling, making mistakes, picking up penalties, and we should be able to just slowly make our way through some drivers as the race goes on, as we manage to hold off TX3 Month in that BMW there as he went for a look around the outside, and we just managed to hold on to that position. But just look how close this racing is as we come to the end of lap 2. This was quite chaotic, but I have to say I've thoroughly enjoyed this racing. Even though we started from the back, just look at this. Look how closely packed this field is. This is obviously a mixture of different people on different tyres, possibly also cars struggling with tyres compared to other cars, so it's bunching everyone up together, and it's really helped me out, the fact that I've been looking after my tyres and not stressing them out too much. At this point now, we've got better tyres than a lot of other drivers. As you see there, Devil in front of us in the FT1, one of the strongest cars at this track, has a massive issue there. I did expect Devil to be much further up the field than he was in that car. I must be honest, I thought that he would be right towards the front, as we make a move on Devil on the inside and take that position and go up another place. So far in the race, some good early progress. We've not had any incidents. It's been clean racing right from the start as we start lap 3, and this lap is where we're going to pit. The pit stop strategy for me had to be lap 3 in the pits, and then you could either put mediums or hards on. I decided I was going to go mediums all the way, as we're still trying to defend from that FT1. We had to be very cautious that it wasn't able to go all the way around the outside, because that car can carry so much speed, and we managed to hold him off again and maintaining that position there. Just look how close this racing is as we go into the right hander now. I decide to always brake quite early for this corner so you don't go in too deep, just so you're not putting too much power to the rear tyres, and then I can just be really patient before I put the throttle down. And again, trying to look after them rear tyres, it's so important. As you see now in front of us, we've got a group of cars battling away. We've got Steve Gaming in front of us there in the Jaguar. I think we've got Calster just up there as well. A lot of cars struggling with tyre wear. Calster really having a hard time with the tyres on the Lamborghini, obviously as well as a pad player, putting that little bit of extra tyre wear into the car, but doing an okay job so far. His battle will be on the next stint when he's got to do 4 laps. Will he go on the medium tyres or will he go on the hard tyres? My guess is he'll go on the medium tyres and just try and keep pace. There's another car with a penalty there. That's Carl Williams, my teammate for my esports team, having an issue there in the Mercedes, picking up a penalty from somewhere on the track, I'm not sure where, and losing a fair amount of time there, as he was on actually a no-stop strategy, I think, on the harder tyre. So at this point, I'm just trying. You can see he's actually probably got a bit more pace than us now, even after 3 laps. So them hard tyres were actually a lot better than what we thought, as we're now going to have a little look around the left-hand side of Calster, but not able to make that move there. No real way you can make an overtake at that point of the track. And we just slot back in behind Calster as he runs a little bit wide, loses a bit more time. We go have a little look on the inside. There's Carl Williams behind us, otherwise known as Force. I used to call him Force. He used to be Force on his, I think he's changed his profile name. As we're going to dart off in the pits, and you'll see the Mercedes to the right hand side stay out on that right hand side and going for that no-stop strategy. So he's probably on the hard tyres. Also, you can see some other cars staying out. So it looks like some drivers are going for that 4-lap stint on the early one and then doing the 3-lap stint at the end, or they're going for the no-stopper. And I think the hard tyres were actually reacting quite a lot better with this track, and actually they weren't actually wearing anywhere near as fast as what people expected. As we've now got Tidgeny on the inside, he's gone on an alternative strategy after a spin early on in the race and picking up an unfortunate penalty. I think it was on lap 2, and there he pitted at the end of lap 2, I think, for some hard tyres. So we just, really important that we managed to stay ahead of him there, because obviously we're on the medium tyres. We don't want to be getting held up by a car on the harder compound tyre. Even though T-GT, I think, had a lot more pace than I did, a lot more, because 1, he's probably better at this track, and 2, I think the Audi's probably a little bit stronger around this track also. But as we go into the braking zone, staying in the middle of the track, I didn't want to give any invitation for any dive up the inside, although racing T-GT, you know that he's not going to make any stupid moves like that. We won't even talk about other drivers that might do stuff like that. But as you can see now, approaching Calster, we're in P16 again. Obviously a lot of drivers staying out to lap 4, so we're going to get some of these positions back from the early stint. I think we pitted in lap, I think it was on lap 3 in P12 that we managed to go in the pit sim. So we're hopefully going to get ourselves back into P13, 12. Remember, some cars are no stopping. I could not do the no stop strategy really. I didn't try it out on hard tyres. Maybe I should have gave it a go. But I felt like this NSX, it was killing the rear right tyre far too fast to even try the no-stop strategy. It would have been probably disaster if I even gave it a go. It was more the front engine cars that were giving it the go for the no-stop strategy, because obviously they look after their rear tyres so much better. They can just go for that no-stop strategy, and in general it's just the front tyres that wear, which they can just be a bit more cautious at, brake a little bit earlier, hold the apex and just carry a little less speed through the apex of the corner. But they can get on the throttle reasonably well, which carries the speed down the straight, which is really important. As we now carry on looking after these tyres, obviously there's a bit of a gap developed between myself and Calster, but that was partly because of having to try and get back around the outside of T-GT on the start of the lap. We lost a little bit of time during that instant, and now we're just going to try and keep patient really, because we can drive really aggressive, obviously use up the tyre life, push it maximum, but then the final lap the car will literally be drifting through every corner, and that is not what I wanted. I had that experience in practice lobbies of that situation. As we go into turn 1 and we've got someone coming out the pits right in front of me and losing me again, another half a second or so, as you see T-GT gaining right back up on me, where I'm stuck behind him there through turn 1. I wanted to carry a lot more speed than that through there. However, now we're going to pick up the slipstream from RC Freak in the Nissan GTR, one of the fastest cars in the game. So getting a little bit of a draft down here now, but I did lose out overall. You can see that Calster up ahead has gained maybe half a second to a second there through that little incident where he's come out the pits, and I've had to brake very early and just get out the front. I tried to go around the outside, but obviously fresher tyres on that Nissan, he could hold the inside line, and he's going to pull away anyway. There'd be no point me battling him to try and get ahead of him at that point. I might as well just stay in his slipstream, use him to help me gain a little bit of time down the straights and bring me a little bit closer to Calster in P11 again. As my car is obviously, you can see it already, we're only halfway through the second lap, and look at the tyre wear on the right hand side. It's already looking quite worn, and we've got to do another 2 laps after this lap. So tyre wear is really important to keep an eye on it, keep looking after it, and just be patient on the throttle through corners like this. You can see being patient before we're maximum throttle, and then this is another corner approaching now, which I was really trying to be very cautious on. Sometimes early upshifting it into third just to minimise the risk of wheel spin. I don't know if we'll do it on this go. Let's have a little look now as we just put very narrow inputs in, and then just shifting through third gear. Not too much of an early upshift that time. We'll pay attention on the next time, but just being really cautious on the throttle. You could see we were on about 40% throttle through the corner before and then gradually increasing it to that 100%, because you cannot afford to be aggressive on the throttle with the NSX coming out of corners like this. With the high rate of tyre wear that Polyphony are insistent on giving us, time 17, it is a bit silly, but we'll see if they ever change that. I think this season is going to all be about tyres again, which is a shame, because we want racing. We don't want to be worrying about tyres. And the problem that the tyre wear is creating is it's creating a new BOP within itself. We all know the Toyota, the Porsche, etc., the Mercedes. These cars are really good on the tyres, and they're able to excel in them conditions, but hopefully something they'll find a compromise eventually that brings everything a little bit closer together, as we've managed to catch back up to Calster in that Lamborghini. Obviously starting to struggle now with them tyres on his car. Lost a bit of ground to P10, you can see up ahead, and now we're just going to have to see if we can hang on and stay with, try and make some progress towards Calster really, because I think I'd done a good job at looking after the tyres during the first 2 laps, and now I can start using up a bit of tyre life. We've got 1.5, nearly 2 laps to go as we approach the slipstream of Calster. You can see he's struggling on the front end as well. It looks like not only the rear of that Lamborghini is going, but the front tyres are going, which is possibly more to do with the pad than the car on the front tyres, but the rear tyres is very much a trademark of the Lamborghini. It really does chew up the rear tyres, as does the NSXO. I mean, we did compare the tyre rate where at the end of this race between myself and Calster, and the rear right was identical. It was just the front tyres that I had a bit more grip on. As we're now fully in that slipstream, we're going to be able to make a move at some point soon. You can see picking up that slipstream, just look how close this is now. Able to take much earlier apex into the corner and hold the tighter line. You can see, look how much extra speed I'm able to take for that left hand corner, where his right front tyre is really feeling worn, and he's running wide there. He gets on the grass a little bit as we go to the left hand side. We're going to try and outbrake him around the outside and go around the outside. This is going to be a very hard move to do as we get on the throttle very gently, not too aggressively there. Early upshift into third gear and managed to make that move around the outside. Now we're going to have to go very defensive on the left hand side because that Lamborghini is very fast down the straight. So going over to the left hand side, braking as late as I can without running wide. I wanted to make sure I hit the apex nice and early so I can get on the throttle so he can't get back past me. And now we're coming to the very tricky section for the NSX. This is the corners that was really difficult. You had to be very early on the brakes and be cautious on the curb. It ran the risk of just bouncing the car out. As you can see, Calster still, even with the tyres, managed to gain on me there. Now he goes around that wider line there. I'm going to hold it narrow to the apex, try and get on the throttle as early as possible now as we start the final lap. And now that Lamborghini is going to have a run up on me on the main straight, but now this is where the difference is between power. The Lamborghini, one of the fastest Group 3 cars, is just breezing past that outside. Will I be able to hold it on the inside on the braking? We're going to try and hold it as close as we can to the apex. We've got a bit more grip than Calster has in that Lamborghini and managed to hold on to that position now through the really fast corners. And this is there's no real opportunity for him to make a move down this section, and he seems to be struggling so much with that Lamborghini. You can see him drifting through the corners, sliding and understeering. It really looks like a handful at this stage of the race as we now come through to the long left hand corner. And again, bit more grip than what he's got and able to just build that gap up and make sure that there's no opportunity for him to make a move. As he's gone wide, you can see in the mirror and in the bottom right hand corner, in the replay camera in the bottom right hand corner, made an error there and ran a little bit wide, and that's going to make his tyres extremely dirty into the braking zone. And I think Tidgney and Manf are going to go for that move and get past Calster. So Calster losing out quite a few positions on the last few laps with the Lamborghini suffering so much with them tyres. And now I've got to try and hold on to this P12. We've got Manf coming up behind us, who has got much better tyres. I think possibly he may, I'm not sure if he pitted lap 4, but he seems to be massively faster. You can see how much he gains on every corner and every braking zone, every traction zone. Look at my rear right tyre. It is completely faded away. I'm going to have to be very cautious on the throttle as we come out of this very tight right hand corner. You can see I've got a group of cars ahead of me though. Just look how close this racing is towards the end of the races. One car goes off and another one, you can see P10 nearly ran wide as well, and we pick up P11 right on the final lap. But we've got a group of 5 or 6 cars right in front of us, so we're in P11 and P6 or something like that is only around the corner. You can see it there. P6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all within. You can see how close they are. So this really does show you how important qualifying is, as Manf behind us has a massive moment on throttle, and that could possibly have saved me as I decided to put that traction control onto level 1 because this rear right hand tyre is now totally faded. I decided to put that traction control onto level 1 to try and save me through this final corners. We had enter the apex and just watch how the car starts to swing in. It nearly loses the rear with that car having no grip on that rear right hand tyre, on the throttle as early as I can. And now we're going to work our way to the finishing line, and we're going to just about hold on to that P11, and a hard fought battle from P18 to P11, and rescued that. I feel like I did a reasonably good job in that race. A thoroughly enjoyable race. I really did enjoy that. As we have a little look, not picking up a massive amount of points, but this is really highlighting an issue again with the game. We pick up 1,385 points and we're in P169th. Now we finished 11th in top split, so with the best drivers in Europe. We finished 11th, but we're ranked 169th in Europe. This really does sum up an issue. I mean, obviously, you're going to have other times of days where other drivers could have picked up points. So I think if they get this system right, you should be, if you're finishing P11 in manufacturers, you should always be within the top 30 or 40 positions overall. There's situations now where there's A-rated drivers winning their races and picking up 2,000 points, and it's going to cause an issue, I think, where There's a possibility in some competitions like the Nations, for example, where you can have some countries represented by drivers from lower ranks, and it's going to be a little bit of an issue, I think, in terms of how competitive they are at any live finals. But we'll see how that goes if Polyphony decide to fix this issue. For me, it's a big issue. I know Ticheney has the same opinion on it. I know Jomas does. I know a lot of people have the same opinion on the point system at the moment. It really isn't favouring top split drivers. It is actually a situation now where drivers are tanking their DR on purpose before races to get into lower splits, which I don't think is good. Obviously, I want to be racing in top splits, so that's what we'll keep doing, or trying to do anyway. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that race. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I really did enjoy coming through the field from P18 and picking up a very solid P11. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you did. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscription button. And make sure you hit the notification button so you don't miss any future videos or streams. Thanks again for watching, everyone.